At the tail end of our honeymoon trip to Thailand, we spent the last week at the peninsula of Phuket, home to some of the best beaches in the world, incredible beauty, and of course, a huge destination to party. After hopping off our liveaboard scuba dive boat, we hung out for a short time in the town of Khao Lak, a place where I wish we got to spend more time because it was so pretty. The empty beaches were seemingly endless, and felt like a tropical place that I dreamed Thailand would actually be. There were even some delicious restaurants right on the beach that served some of the most spicy Thai food that we were not expecting.
So what have we learned?
No spice.
Because why?
Thailand food is very spicy.
But we couldn't stay for long because our next spot was one of the highlights of the trip. We headed south to Kamala Beach, where we splurged for a fancy room that was absolutely massive and overlooked the crescent-shaped beach below.
It's gonna be us.
Every day in Kamala started out about the same, with a long walk along the water's edge to the far end of the beach. Then popping in and out of the street vendor stands that lined the beach as well. Then we headed back to our hotel to get in the warm Thai water to soak in the afternoon.
This place is amazing, and the water is so warm.
Around lunch, we'd head down to the beach again to check out one of the open-air oceanfront restaurants or bars. For cocktails that only cost about 100 baht, which is about $3. And believe it or not, we were actually one of the minorities there as Americans. Most of the tourists here in Kamala were actually Russians. And as evening would roll around, we'd get to witness one of the most incredible sunsets each night. The sky would seemingly catch fire as the sun would slip below the horizon until the next morning. And if we weren't headed out to one of the nearby restaurants for their special pineapple rice, which somehow tied to the chicken dance, I have no idea why, we actually linked up with one of my wife's friends from back home, who lives now in Phuket.
So we just met up with Courtney's friend from home back in Pennsylvania, who lives here in Phuket, and she's taking us all over like the party areas. And this place is insane. It's completely off the grid, and yeah, the drinks are incredible.
And Erica took us out for an incredible night in Phuket, starting off with a cliffside nightclub called Pillow and a Blanket, where a DJ played music all night to a venue of tree houses and platforms. It was wild. But that was only the beginning of the night, because then she took us to the most infamous party spot called Patong, which is a combination of Vegas, Mardi Gras, and Amsterdam all tied into one little street. To say this was an experience that was overwhelming would be an understatement. Then we headed into the Club Illusion for the rest of the night, which was an unbelievable club packed with people from all over the world. We rounded out our time at Phuket on the eastern coast with a stay at Coconut Island. And as you can imagine, the only way to get to this island is via boat. Luckily, it wasn't one of the long-tail boats and it was actually a nice big boat, but this was still going to be a first for us. The resort on the island was beautiful, with impeccable landscaping and incredible gardens. But we didn't get to hang around long enough before we headed to the mainland that night to check out Old Town Phuket's nighttime market. On this long stretch of street in the middle of town, vendors and cooks lined up full force, with all their stands and all their kitchens, with a plethora of incredible cuisine and art from all over Thailand. This reminded us of our short time in Bangkok, with people from all over coming out for the market scene to enjoy the food, especially the roti, which were like delicious little pancakes.
They're delicious.
currently in Old Town Phuket, and like everything so far in Phuket, it is a sensory overload. There are a ton of people here. The food is amazing, the food is delicious, and they have 1 million shops. I don't know how many, it's a lot.
Take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia.
This place has been amazing to people watch. People from all over. Most people don't really take to not running into you, so it's very interesting. But it is fantastic, especially the food. Plus the live entertainment, it's hard to beat coming here.
Afterwards, we found a little beach shack where we had the most incredible dinner on the trip. And there, we actually got to meet the owner and his family and got to share an entire bottle of Hong Kong with him. Getting to share stories with him was a memory I'll never forget.
We're down to the last couple of days here in Phuket, and today we're going to do a tour of a pearl factory, which is pretty sweet.
You excited?
Yeah.
Nearby to Coconut Island was actually a pearl farm. So on a rainy afternoon, we took a tour that taught us so much about the process of making pearls into some of the most ornate jewelry around the world. Pearls are actually something oysters make when they encounter an irritant that enters inside their shell. Using that, these farms insert an irritant for the oysters to create that mother of pearl around. And after various lengths of time, they are able to open up these oysters and harvest the pearls that we see in all the jewelry. And this process can take anywhere from 6 months to a long 4 years, depending on the pearl and the size. And that really makes you appreciate how expensive these things are. And of course, Courtney couldn't leave without getting a little something as well. I'd be remiss not to mention one of the most famous parts near Phuket, and that's the Phi Phi Islands. This is an island chain in the middle of the Andaman Sea, home to some of the most beautiful pinnacles and beaches in Thailand. On this speedboat tour, we got to visit a few of the island chains, like Bamboo Island, Koh Phi Phi, and Koh Phi Phi Lay. The water here was crystal clear and perfectly warm, albeit a huge tourist trap, but it's understandable. These are some of the best beaches I've ever been to. Then we made a quick stop at Koh Phi Phi, which is the party capital of Phi Phi Islands, but we were only here for lunch and a cocktail. Next up were the Viking caves, where they go in and collect bird's nests, which is like an Asian delicacy. And after that, we finally got to go see the famous Monkey Beach, where the monkeys were crawling all over the beach and the rocks. After that, we got to do some snorkeling right up against a rock face, where the marine life was spectacular. And to be honest, it was almost as good as what we got to see while we were scuba diving just a few days earlier in the trip while we were on a liveaboard. The water was so clear and warm, and the fish, probably expecting all the snorkelers, always came around. It was pretty amazing. Last up on the tour was a stop at the infamous Maya Bay, which was made famous by a Leonardo DiCaprio movie called The Beach. This is a pristine cove, which is unbelievable. Sadly, it's super overcrowded because of all the tourists, but they've been able to manage it pretty well and kept it very clean lately. And it's understandable why everybody wants to come there because it is spectacular. All in all, Phuket was a dream of a place to visit, with their amazing beaches, friendly people, wild nightlife, delicious food and drink, and of course, the tropical paradise that the entire region sits in. It was hard to say goodbye, and it was one of those trips where you already start planning that return flight to come back again. Phuket was really amazing.